Hey everyone, Jason from GameRave. Our Patreon shout this episode goes out to Jason A. Thank you so much for your donation. I had an amazing time drawing your postcard. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, these are the postcards I send out to people that donate $10 or more to our Patreon fund. And if you have no idea what that is, just go to the web address right here, donate to GameRave. Help us out. It's amazing. In fact, we actually used our first month worth of Patreon donations to actually buy a variant that I've never seen before, and we'll actually show off to you guys as a thank you, of course, next episode. It's just really cool. I've actually never ever seen it before, and I think it's the first time I've even known of its existence. So that being said, on with the episode. Alright guys, obviously it's Jason from GameRaveTV.com. Let's get the show on the road. This episode deals with demo discs. Now, looking back, demo discs were more or less a disposable, just easy way to check out a game and so forth. Essentially the betas of the PlayStation 1 era. But the reason we're dedicating a whole episode to demo discs is because without the demo disc, there technically would be no PlayStation 1. Back before the system had come out, Sony had what is, to my own personal biased opinion, quite possibly the greatest marketing ever done for anything. Obviously, it was the "You Are Not Ready" campaign with all the different spellings of "ready" and "ready of September," etc. But the important thing to note here is that if you were willing to take a chance and pre-order a PlayStation 1, the first game system from Sony at the time, you were given a demo disc, and that was called the Hear It Now, Play It Later demo. And what made the thing so awesome is that when you got home from pre-ordering it, you actually threw it into your CD player at home. Remember those kids? And you got to listen to a bunch of different music, including Korn and some other people, etc. And then later, when the system came out, you could throw that same CD into the system itself, and it had a bunch of tech demos, including the now famous T-Rex, the bouncing balls, the frogs, etc. Now, after all of that was said and done, now that you have your new PlayStation 1, you actually had an extra demo in the system box, and that was the PlayStation Pix demo. And what made this important is basically, even if you hadn't bought a game with your day one purchase, you still had something or some things to play. And you didn't have to wait for them to download, you didn't have to sign up for PlayStation Plus, you didn't have to do whatever. You could start playing right away. And it was within these demo discs where you actually got the early hype and the buildup of anticipation for the coming games. That was something magazines couldn't do at the time. Oddly enough, the PlayStation Pix that was included in the original system box, as well as the original system box, is one of the most infamous tellers of the untold tales. It's because of these two items famously depict the unreleased Madden 96 video game, as well as the system box also showing off a boxing game and I believe some sort of spaceship shooting game that never came out. Now, Sony actually changed the demo included in the system box as time went on. There's roughly 10 or 11 total system demo discs, but they didn't stop there. Now, to understand how important demo discs were to the PlayStation's lifespan, the Saturn and the 3DO did demo CDs as well. However, you could count the number of demo discs that 3DO had to the public on about one hand. The Sega Saturn had roughly, I think, about 13 demos, give or take. The PlayStation 1 had well over 200 to 300 different demos, and this was available through playing through the Kiosk demos, mail-away, subscription demos, etc. And I wanted to just run down the different types of demos there are, just to give you guys an idea of just how amazing this whole setup was. Alright, now the easiest demo to describe is the retail demo. These were given out in two ways. One, either just free to promote the game, or B, as a bonus for reserving a game. What's kind of nifty to talk about here is that a lot of the demos were usually exclusive to specific retailers, but you really didn't see the retailer branding on the demo sleeves until the PlayStation 2's life. There are a couple in the PlayStation 1 library that are tramp stamp, for lack of a better term, like the Best Buy Greatest Hits demo, the Best Buy Driver 2 demo, the Toys R Us Driver 1 demo, but you really didn't see that marketing gimmick come until the PlayStation 2 era. The next demos that were available to the public, at least to play, were Kiosk demos. These can actually range from pretty common to freaking obscure. The most common were the actual Sony first-party kiosk demos, and there's about 6 or 7, give or take, that were obviously placed in the retailers for people to play and so forth. The really rare ones, I can think of at least 6 or 7, or off the top of my head, would have been the PlayStation kiosk demo, which featured Jet Moto and Final Fantasy VII that were only used in Pepsi kiosks during some of the tours they did, and then a lot of the Toys R Us test drive kiosk demos that were exclusive to the Toys R Us stores. In fact, if you go to the Game Rave's need list page, you can see which ones I currently need to finish off the set. And if you have any of them, I would really, really appreciate them. The next set of demos, and probably the most fun ones, were the mailaways. These came in a bunch of varieties. The most probably bountiful, for lack of a better term, would have been the demos that came with the official PlayStation magazine. Every month, the magazine came with a CD, both video demos and playable demos, and this changed on the month. What was weird, though, is based on the size of the demo, you could have a disc that either had like 3 playable demos or like 11 playable demos. Like, it was just bizarre how different it changed each month. There were a ton of these. There were roughly at least, I believe, 52 total for just the PlayStation 1, and they carried this over into the PlayStation 2's life. In fact, the OPM demo disc actually, I think, is still going with PlayStation 3, PS3, PS4 Blu-rays, but don't quote me on that. The second type was the PlayStation Underground. Now, the Underground was a really nifty idea, and I wish it was still going on, but obviously digital downloads now take care of that. With the PlayStation Underground, it was a 2 CD set you got every 3 months. And one disc was all the demos and demo videos, etc. But then the second disc were behind-the-scenes videos, documentaries to a degree, news that was going on, really nifty, like, things you wouldn't see under normal circumstances. During the last tail end, give or take, I think 8 issues of the Underground, you actually got to see them create a video game from scratch, from the early concept demos and sketches to the final programming, and actually play it on one of the last demo CDs. The other ones would have been mail away or how would I do this? Like promotional offer demos. Some of them you actually would have had to write into a magazine for, or send in a coupon from a video game. Even Slim Jim got in on it and so forth with their demo disc. Yeah, Slim Jim. God, am I old. Last but not least, and the most elusive of all demos, are the trade demos. Now, a trade demo is very specific, and 98% of the time was never meant for the public. These were demos that were either incomplete demos, maybe a couple levels or so forth, or in the case of Rugrats, a video, literally just a video trailer on a disc, or in Silent Hill's case, complete games for review and strategy guide purposes. Trade demos are weird just because they're for, obviously, industry side stuff. Most of them come in just very plain white cardboard cases. The disc artwork is usually literally just text letting you know what it is, printed, not handwritten. But as I said, the content can vary. With what GameRave currently has in its archive, literally there's just ones that are videos. There are ones that are, a couple levels, like they'd be the same demo you'd see in OPM, but not until 3 months later. But then, like Silent Hill, a lot of these are full copies of the game. And what makes it even more in demand, and especially with Silent Hill, I keep going back to Silent Hill, is that it's the full game, but a different version. If you've ever flipped through the strategy guide in PSM, PlayStation Magazine, there's an infamous little text box in either the original appearance of the Silent Hill guide or the next issue, where they explain that their copy was different from the retail version, and the trade demo is what it was. It turns out some of the streets and item locations were a little bit different, and that's also why the demo is so in demand, gets crazy amount of money on eBay. I believe the Gauntlet Gauntlet Legends is also a full copy of the game too. But as far as I can tell, I think it's the exact same as the retail copy. With Game Rave's need list, besides the Toys R Us kiosk ones, the last few trade demos we need, or at least we know of, are up there as well. And it's funny too because I actually have like sleeves, but no disc for some of them, or the disc and no sleeve. And in the 4 to 7 years of owning these trade demos, I've never seen the missing half, which just shows you how rare and obscure they are. The funny thing is, though, aside from the NBA 2-ball white sleeve demo and the Silent Hill demo, usually they're not worth that much. I mean, barely over $40-50, if that. Now, as far as Jason, I don't collect demos. Tell me something I should buy. There's actually 3 or 4 demos that the common gamer would probably get a kick out of. The first one is the Titan AE demo disc, and that's because the game never came out. The only way to play that game is the demo disc. There's also one of the PlayStation Magazine demo CDs has a playable demo of Macross, like Valkyrie? Macross something. And that's important because it would have been the first time that a Macross game would have been brought to America and, translated so forth, and that never ended up happening. So once again, you've got an unreleased game on one of the demo discs. Other than that, for fans of Mystery Science Theater 3000, one of the PlayStation Underground had a really neat thing where it was actually the Mystery Science Theater crew mocking the actual PlayStation Underground opening as if they were watching a movie on their TV show. Those are probably the niftiest ones to grab if you're not a demo collector. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like 19 years ago, the true way to build up hype for your system and your game was to print demo discs, and nowadays it's just internet, Twitter, and digital downloads. We've come a long way in 19 years. That being said, guys, I hope this video is actually crystal clear. I tried using my iPhone instead of my camera, a little bit better lighting and so forth, so hopefully it's nice and sharp. Next episode, we go back to the letter game, and God knows what happens there. Oh, actually, real quick. I almost forgot, I mentioned this on Twitter and Facebook. The whole comment of the background might be changing. I am this close to finally finalizing purchasing my own home. So it's supposed to go down probably within, God willing, about 2.5 weeks. So if GameRaveTV or the website is delayed, and the next time you see me there's an actual real game room background, you'll know why. So that being said, guys, have a great week.